Okay, so carrying on with the IK foot setup, what we will do is now put in the actual controls for the foot. We've just set up the IK handles and grouped them together. So let's have a look at putting in the controls. And also you'll notice that the foot is at a slight angle. So it's not aligned to any of the orthographic views, which just puts a little bit more difficulty on the setup, but it's easy to get the information on what we need to do. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create a NURBS primitive, create a circle, and just drag there, and I'm going to snap it to the ball of the foot. So basically I need to create two controls, one for the foot and one for the toe. Okay, so now what I can do is literally go in and modify the control points. Now when I tried to select them, it automatically selected the joints, so the joints get priority. So if you just want to not select the joints for the time being, go up to the blue icons at the top. These are your filters, so if I click on the joints, that will prevent me from selecting the joint, so you're free to kind of work. So select the NURBS circle, right click, go to control vertex. That is now selecting the IK. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily hide those with the outliner so I can get straight into the control vertex or vertices. I'm just going to move the control back and move it down, so it's I'm just going to come into the right view. I'm going to move it down to floor level, come back to perspective view, and then now just reshape the control so that it looks very similar to a foot control. I'll not go mad for this tutorial, but you can get carried away with the controls. Okay, so that will do. So that allows me to select a good control for the foot, and basically I'll create one for the toe. Again, create a circle, snap it to the ball of the foot, go to control verts, again just move it forward. I'm going to come into right view and just move it down to the floor level, and then just shape into something that resembles a very simple toe control. I'm not going to go much beyond this one. Okay, I'll just move those back. So now if I go to object mode, the pivot for both of them is at the ball of the foot. Okay, so I'm going to call this one, I'm just going to freeze transformations, edit, delete by type history. To reset everything, remove the history. Same for this one, freeze transformations, delete by type history. I'm going to call this one left foot underscore control, and I'm going to call this one left toe underscore control. So you can see just naming again as you go along will get you into a good work practice. Okay, now as you can see, the feet controls are aligned with the world, with the orthographic, and I'd like them to be aligned with the plane that the leg sits on, which is at a slight angle. So I need to know what that value is. So to do that, what I'm going to do is make use of constraints. I'm going to create a locator and snap it to a position on the ball of the foot, and modify freeze transformations, and just scale it up just so I can see it. Okay, so basically what I'm wanting to do is align the locator along the joint, and this will give me the rotate Y value so that I can use that value and position the feet control. Okay, so I can either eyeball it, which obviously doesn't give me an accurate representation, or what I can do is use an aim constraint, so aim the locator at this end joint here. Let me take the filter off. Aim it at this joint here, okay? And that will give me the exact value, which is always worthwhile. Wherever you can get exact values with rigging, it always helps. Okay, so again, just to remind you, with constraints, always select the parent first, shift select the child, go to constrain aim. Let's bring up the dialog box. Okay, so the aim vector is literally the axis that I'm going to be aiming to this end joint. So as you can see, I've just gone into translate mode. The aim vector is the Z. So wherever you see kind of three boxes like this, it always gives you the option to put in X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to take X to 0 and Y to 1. So it's either 0 or 1. Okay. And the up vector in this instance is the Y, so that's positive Y. So that's 1, and this is obviously from another aim control. I'm just going to change that to scene up as well. Okay. So basically I'm aiming along the Z, and my up vector is the Y. If I click apply, I don't want to maintain offset. I want the locator to point along that line. So if I click on add, whoops, I just need to reselect the parent and the child again, click on add, and as you can see, that's now aligned. Okay, and that's reading a Y value of 14.686. Again, just as with all constraints, if you look in the outliner, you can see the aim constraint here, so I can just delete it because all I basically want is this Y value. Okay, so ultimately now all I need to do is rotate this 14.686, and that will align it with the joint. Same with this one, 14.686. Okay, so you can see now that those controls are perfectly aligned with the joints, which basically means that if I go and rotate, it's always in line with the joint chain, which is exactly what you want. Okay, I'll delete that locator. I've got that value, I don't need it now. And then literally what I can do, I'll just unhide the group. I'm going to parent the group that contains the IK handles to the left foot control. So a quick way of doing that is in your outliner, middle drag the group onto the foot control, and you can see you get that green plus. Whoops, something happened there. There, that's better. So as you can see now, the left foot control is now the parent, and literally that will now control the IK handles. And I've got the rotation in there as well. Okay, so lastly, let's set up the toe. At the moment, the when I move the foot, the toe doesn't work, and it gets left behind. So what I'm going to do is constrain the toe to the foot control. Again, using constraints, select the parent first, shift, select the child, and literally what I'm going to do here is a point constrain, because I just want it to move with it. Maintain offset, keep that. I don't want to maintain offset. This should be in the same place anyway. Constrain all axes and add. So now you can see the constraint is working because it's blue in your channel box. When I lift it up, the foot goes with it. Sorry, the toe goes with it, but if I rotate, it keeps the control where it is. Okay. However, at the moment, it's not moving the actual toe joint itself. So, what I'm going to do here then, you can do it in many different ways. The beauty of Maya, you can hook the channels together. What I'm going to do is very simply do another single IK chain and parent the IK chain to the foot control. That works, it's quite simple. So again, skeleton IK handle tool, just make sure you are in single chain solver. It always remembers your last kind of mode. So I'm going to go from the ball of the foot to the end. Okay, and just bring back up my outliner. You can see I've got the IK handle here. So I'm going to call this left toe underscore IK handle. I'm then going to parent that to my left toe control. So now if I rotate, it rotates. I don't know if you can see that. It rotates the toe joint. Okay, so that's a very simple IK setup using groups, where you've got the main control where you can do the translations and rotations. We've just been really a bit more careful with aligning the controls to the plane of the IKLeg, so that when we rotate, it rotates really nicely, and the toe is point constrained to the foot, so it lifts with it, but it doesn't rotate at the same time. Okay, so it's nice and flexible, nice and easy to animate with.